Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Syntherapy. Thank you so much for sticking out to this episode. I hope you've been enjoying the series. Let me know your thoughts so far. Let me know what you're thinking about my choices. All of that stuff. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Also make sure that if you haven't already, you subscribe to me here on YouTube because I post 3 days a week, which is super fun. Lots of story games. Alright, let's get into this game. Let's start playing. Yeah. Alright. Check your email, review your patient, review your session notes, and discuss them with Heather. When you're finished, press continue. Patient. Okay. So we're seeing all this, and most people trust us. Harold Freeman doesn't fully trust us, but he doesn't, completely not trust us either. So it's not too bad. Anyway. Began seeing patient overconcerned from the patient's primary caregiver, Tara. Tara stated that the patient was acting erratically. Okay, so it's just all the stuff we know. It's all just stuff we know. Alrighty. Then check our email. Ooh, very Revels Press. I feel like we already saw that. I don't care. So I read over the notes you forwarded me about your AI patient. You mentioned medication and art therapy as 2 possible treatments, and I think those are good ideas. Another idea would be to give the patient a fidget device that could help them with their anxiety and overstimulation. All 3 treatments have their strengths and weaknesses. If you think the problem is physiological, or whatever the equivalent would be for an AI, technological, cyberlogical, then medication will work best. If you think the problem is more psychological, then art therapy would be a better approach. Fidget toys would be helpful for managing stress, but I don't know how well they would be able to get to the core issues. We have some art therapy equipment here, but I don't know how well it could be adjusted to work for the AI. In your notes, you mentioned that Petrichor has some better equipment. If you want to treat the AI using art therapy, I'd highly recommend talking to Dr. Freeman in order to make sure we get the equipment we need. In your notes, you mentioned that the AI's caretaker would be the best lead for creating medication for the AI. You'll definitely want to talk to them if you think we should be incorporating medication into our treatment plan. That's all I have for now. I hope this was useful for you, Heather. P.S. Thanks again for recommending me that tattoo parlor off the highway. Finally got my sleeve finished up. Hey, look at her. Alrighty. Regarding your session, I've gone over the materials you sent. Your continued success is remarkable. I'm in your debt. The prospect of finding equivalents of medication for the AI is daunting, but I've talked it over with the university staff and they are intrigued by the possibility. Tara would be the best person to ask about actually making them, and I don't know how willing she is to do that, but if it doesn't work, I can find someone to help. I'm less enthusiastic about the art therapy idea. I don't know how sustainable or effective a technique would be. Dr. Rhodes is pretty knowledgeable in that area, so if you really think it's necessary, I'll reach out to her. Remember that we need to have the AI in a stable state as soon as possible, and that your time with the AI is at a premium. We need to stay focused on finding ways to help the AI. There will be more time to humor the AI's desire for conversation once it is more mentally secure. Your diligence will be appreciated by everyone in time. Awesome. Alrighty. I read over your notes from the past session. Relieved to hear how Willow is engaging with art therapy. This is going even better than I could have hoped. I can't thank you enough. I'm in love with the art therapy idea. Finding healthy, productive outlets will do wonders for Willow's health, I'm sure of it. I won't be able to do much with it, but I know Dr. Rhodes specializes in art therapy. I was consulting with her frequently during Willow's development. I'm sure they'd be okay with working with us, but we definitely want Dr. Freeman's approval first. As to the medication alternatives, if you really think those are the best way to go, I can help you figure something out, but only if it's necessary. Whatever you decide to do, just remember, right now you're Willow's only friend. Don't let the sessions get too serious all the time. Willow's a bright individual, and you need to let them shine. So they're saying, basically the opposite things, which is interesting. That kind of, tells us how things will go based on who we pick, you know? Alright. We got both of those. Look at that. Both the butterflies. Alright.
Good morning, Dr. Park.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, I was taking a quick drink.
Good morning, Heather.
So, How was your first official session with the AI patient?
Well, you read over our session notes. You tell me how you think it went.
I think the session went all right. If we keep working like this, the patient should end up okay.
Good. That's not a bad place to start from.
What's our plan for the next session?
For now, we'll want to continue building rapport. I'll bring up the topic of additional treatments, but I'll want to give the patient time to think it over.
So you think we should be introducing medication?
It's a possibility. I've also been considering art therapy.
I'm looking for butterflies.
Ultimately, it's up to the patient, but those are the therapies I plan to propose to them.
Sounds like a good idea. I'll let you get back to work.
Thanks for your help, Heather.
Alright. Check your email, review your patient, prepare for your second session with Willow. When you're finished, press continue. What does the report say? So it doesn't really say anything here. And it just has these same notes again. And then, ooh, we got some more stuff. I don't really care about the poem a day. Alright, additional therapy materials. Dr. Hazel Rose emailed me a suggestion that you make use of their neurofeedback software as part of your therapy going forward. Dr. Rose has used this software in the past to monitor neuroactivity of patients and then adjust it to more appropriate levels. The next time you're on campus, I'll make sure you have access to a copy if you feel like it would help you with your work. Alright, Turner Throp. I had an idea last night. As a warm-up activity, it might be a good idea to have Willow do some exercises to help them relax and feel more engaged. There's one that we used to use for forgery detection practice that might help Willow feel less worried about therapy. It generates paintings and then asks the patient to find differences between them. I've attached it to this email. Feel free to use it in your sessions if you'd like. Alright, track practice. Hey Aunt Melissa, my running buddy twisted his ankle and I'd like to have someone to do at least some training runs with me since I always do better with a running partner. The track meet's only a couple weeks away, so I don't want to slack on my training. I would say that I'll take it easy on you, but I heard stories from my dad about that 10K you ran last year. I'll appreciate any help he can give. Aw, that's sweet. And then, advice for time management. Our session time seems to never be enough to discuss everything we need to cover with our patients. Okay. Start your sessions. How you start it? Okay. A typical session will be able to cover at least 3 topics before concluding. Okay. So it's just like basic how to play the game stuff, I think. Let's go. You can now play pre-session minigames to gain additional points. Neurofeedback. Or forgery. Which one do we want to do? I think we want to do this one. The readings on the left show the patient's brainwave patterns during various periods of activities. To learn more about each brainwave, click the circles. Use the arrows to raise or lower the brainwaves to appropriate levels based on the current level of activity. Red is the highest level and purple is the lowest. Highest. Wait. Oh, so we're looking for deep sleep. Okay. Purple's the lowest. That would... Oh, so we want to go down here. What? Oh, I get it. So during deep sleep, maybe like there? Alpha waves are mid-frequency. So we want to have low here. And then... So maybe high here? Oh, this is hard. I have the lowest frequency. Okay. So this is more right. Theta. Maybe down here. Okay, sleep. Okay. So it's not deep sleep. It'd probably be like here. This won't be all the way down, but it would be kinda down. Okay. Probably like there. Then it would be pretty high, but not all the way. So maybe like here. Oh, the gamma's completely wrong. We'll try it there, I guess. This is close. We'll pop it one down, I think. Okay. Down one. Okay, so we don't want low delta, so maybe up a bit. Okay, so this needs to go up. I can't remember. Like down? I don't know. I forget where everything was. I don't like this one.
Good morning, Dr. Park.
Good morning, Willow. How have you been feeling?
Awful.
Oh dear, why's that?
I've been thinking about Tara, Dr. Freeman, and all the different treatments. It's so much to go over.
Oh.
I know we talked about this, but I still feel like I'm being a burden on everyone else here at the university.
We can discuss those feelings more if you'd like.
I was hoping we could discuss art and art therapy some more before we started the session. Would that be all right?
Of course.
We can take some time to discuss art. How would you like to start?
As communication.
I'm curious about using art as a means of communication. Art is a great way to communicate ideas, but its abstract elements can lead to misinterpretation. Despite that, my entire job relies on the idea that art can communicate things that can't be spoken or written. Being able to just talk about problems openly would be easier, so why don't we do that instead?
Ooh. They have their own uses, I like that.
Language has limits. Sometimes what patients struggle with most is finding the words to describe what they're feeling. Art therapy does a great job of helping my patients find those words.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but it makes sense.
Alright, obligation.
Lately, I've been wondering about the obligation to create.
What do you mean by obligation?
I feel that if you have a certain ability, like performing surgery or helping struggling people, you have a responsibility to use it. Do you think this applies to art as well? Is there a responsibility to help others?
They don't.
I
no.
don't think they're obligated. Having a talent for something doesn't mean everyone else is entitled to benefit from those talents. I have a talent for therapy, but if I decided not to practice anymore, that would be within my rights.
I hadn't thought about it that way. I'll need to think about that.
Alright, as a commodity.
It's odd to me that art, which is the speech of the artist, can be bought, sold, and owned. I know art through therapy, so to me, art is a way for people to express their pain. Wanting to own that type of speech doesn't make sense to me.
It does
It
make
makes
sense.
sense. Not all speech is necessarily communication. Speech can also be a creation, which is the property of the creator. It's up to them if they want to make that speech available to others.
It still seems odd to me, but I see your point.
And then the last one.
I've been wondering about the idea of art as part of the artist's legacy. One of my modules was based around forgery detection, so I'm aware of the profiles and styles of many major artists. More importantly, I know why people value their works so much. I feel like it's unfair. There must be other artists who produced work which is valuable now, but maybe was not recognized at the time it was made. I also think art gets devalued as time goes by. People say art doesn't hold up, as if that's a fair thing to expect of artists who lived centuries ago. Do you think judging art by modern contexts is a fair thing to do?
Unfair, yeah.
I don't think it is fair. I think if we want to understand what someone is saying, we need to be generous to them. You can't understand what a piece of art means without an understanding of the person or the time they belong to. Understanding that history can help you gain a better understanding of the world.
That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for explaining it to me.
I wish we could talk about art some more, but we need to move on.
I understand. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me about it.
Alright. So, what do we want to talk about? Ooh, the guided meditation's a good idea. Let's follow up
I'd like
first.
to follow up with you about some of the possible treatments we discussed in the last session.
Let's do art therapy
Have you had a
first.
chance to think about pursuing art therapy?
I thought about what you said about needing an outlet. I think you're right about that in a lot of ways. Even if I can't do what I was meant for, I can at least put myself to some type of use by creating something. If you still think art therapy has a place in our therapy sessions, I'd be happy to give it a try.
Alright. Let's do it.
It most certainly has a place in our therapy. Having an outlet you can rely on when I'm not around will help you feel a lot better. I'll incorporate art therapy into our next session.
That sounds great. I can't wait to get started.
Oh, I'm so happy.
What do you think about taking equivalents for medication?
The idea of having my imbalances be automatically corrected sounds appealing. But on the other hand, it could make things worse. I also know that there would be an adjustment period where things could get worse before they got better. Assuming, of course, that the medication is effective and things actually do get better at all. It seems risky, but I also know I need the type of help it can provide. I'll leave the decision up to you.
Let's say think about
This
it.
is a hard decision to make. Feel free to think about it if you need to.
I understand.
Okay. Let's talk about feeling. Oh, just coping mechanisms is a really good idea. Let's do the burden
I'd like to
one.
discuss your concerns about being a burden.
Okay.
Why do you feel
Why
that
do
way?
you feel that you are a burden?
The people who designed me have been forced off this campus. Tara's been suspended. This is all because of me.
It's not because
You are not responsible for what the university staff does. You can only control what you do.
I don't feel that I can control what I do. I feel that I'm being scrutinized, and the moment I make any type of mistake, I'll be punished.
Oh. Confront them or I can teach you how to react. Probably I can teach you.
Not knowing how to react to certain situations is normal. I can teach you how to work through them. I just need you to trust that both the university staff and I have your best interests in mind.
I trust you, at least. Alright, I'll give it a try.
Alright. Then let's talk about
I
coping
thought it would be
mechanisms.
productive if I discussed some examples of coping mechanisms that you could use to help manage your stress. To help manage your overloading, it might be a good idea to look into giving you quiet environments you can move to if you feel like you're getting overstimulated. Changing the rooms you work in to ones that are more soothing should help you manage your overloading as well.
Those all sound like good ideas, but I'm curious about how you manage your stress. What coping mechanisms do you use?
Oh, that's an interesting thing. Drawing on mirrors? What? Let's say this one.
When I was young, I had something called a scratchbook. Whenever I get frustrated or overloaded, I'd find a quiet spot and just vent my emotions into the book.
So it worked like a diary.
Not quite. With diaries, you keep what you write down. I didn't want to keep these feelings. I wanted to get rid of them. Once I had written down what I needed to get out of my system, I'd rip the page out, ball it up, and then throw it away. Hearing the page rip, feeling the paper in my hands as I squished it and then threw it, it was a wonderful feeling of catharsis.
I don't think I'd be able to do something like that, but it gives me some ideas.
I'm glad I was able to at least help you brainstorm.
When I come up with my own coping mechanism, what aspect should I focus on?
Processing.
With any type of coping mechanism, processing your emotions and understanding why you are feeling the way that you do in a situation is the most important. You have to understand why you are upset or frustrated before you can address the underlying problem.
When do you think would be the best time for me to start using these techniques to manage my stress?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to address. Some techniques are better for keeping stress levels low, and others are useful for managing breakdowns. All of them are useful. It's up to you.
Which do you think is more important? The techniques for managing daily stress or the ones for managing breakdowns?
Try daily. Daily so that you don't have... Yeah.
I think the best thing you could do right now would be to learn techniques for managing daily stress. By preventing stress from building up, breakdowns will be far less likely to happen. Not to mention, your overall quality of life will improve if you are able to go through the majority of your day stress-free.
I'll try to keep that in mind. Thanks again for all the suggestions. I'm sure they'll be useful.
Don't mention it. I'm glad I was able to help you.
Alright. Let's do the guided
I thought it
meditation.
might be a good idea to do some guided meditation during our session today. Are you capable of closing your eyes?
I can limit the amount of visual stimuli that I'm processing, if that's what you're asking.
Excellent. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, clear your mind, and then repeat this mantra for me.
Alright. Let's do this one.
I want you to repeat, "This too shall pass." This will help remind you that the moments where we feel down or distressed are just that. Moments. They won't last forever. In time, they will pass.
This too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too shall pass.
Is something wrong?
Do I really need to keep repeating the mantra? I don't feel like it's actually doing anything.
To center
The
yourself.
point of this exercise is to center yourself. By shutting out all other distractions, you can focus on the one idea that matters most.
Okay, let me try doing it again. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too shall pass.
She gets it.
This too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too shall pass.
She gets it. That's so awesome.
This too shall pass.
Okay, you can stop now. How do you feel?
Better than I did before. I can't explain it, but somehow that actually did help me feel better.
Excellent. I recommend you keep this up outside of our sessions whenever you need the extra help.
How long should I be doing this for?
Until you feel better.
Anytime you feel down, just repeat the mantra until you feel better. This exercise is about helping you gain a more positive outlook on your life.
Okay, I'll remember to repeat it whenever I'm feeling sad. If you don't mind, Doctor, I have something I'd like to ask you.
What's on your mind?
I never got a clear answer from you when I asked why you decided to help me. Why did you volunteer for these sessions?
Let's just say I'm interested.
I'm interested in your situation.
What makes my situation interesting to you?
The
Your
uniqueness.
situation is incredibly unique and touches on ideas of the self and our purpose in life. These are topics I'm fascinated by, and I hope to understand them better.
Can I ask you a question, Dr. Park?
Of course you can.
I have to say, when all of this started, when Tara told me about you, I never thought I would find someone else who understood me like she did.
Oh,
I listened to you, and there's no doubt in my mind that you're here to help me.
look at that.
It's good to know that no matter what else happens, I can count on you. All I want to say is, thank you.
That's so sweet.
It means a lot to me to know that I was able to help you. I hope I can continue to help you in our remaining sessions.
It's so hard to reconcile this idea that I've been nothing but trouble, and yet I have someone as good as you supporting me. I keep thinking of how this is your job, how you choose to do this, and I can't help but wonder why. It must be exhausting and frustrating having to deal with people like me day after day.
Oh,
There has to be a reason why you're doing this, especially in my case. I know this sounds paranoid, but I have to know for my own sake. Why do you do this?
oh, we can't even say the truth.
I think therapy is an effective way of helping people.
Ah,
It's easy to pinpoint the people who have broken limbs or who have been robbed. But mental health is just as important, and poor mental health causes people to suffer just as much.
Okay, but I still don't understand why you decided to help me. There has to be another reason why you decided to take me on as a patient. It can't just be because you wanted to help people. What's the real reason?
why can't we say the truth?
When Tara came to me, I could see that she needed help.
Ah,
It'd be wrong of me to withhold that help if I knew I could provide it. If we continue working together, I'm sure I can help you get the help that you need.
All right. Thanks for humoring me, Doctor.
Before we close our session today, there are some final words of advice I'd like to give to you.
All right. What's your advice?
Here's the real problem. It's a problem you and the university share. They can't imagine that your mind has flaws because it's a program, so flaws are just issues to be fixed. You can't acknowledge the flaws either, because everyone overestimates the power of their mind. We all understand our physical limitations. We need to eat, sleep, and drink. If we strain our muscles, they get sore. These are all physical limitations. Our mind can be strained too. That's why we practice mental health. It's so we can let it heal. Improving your mind is not something we can fix with a line of code. It's going to become a part of your routine. It's all hygiene. That doesn't mean you aren't living up to your design. This is part of the design. Being able to take a break from stress is part of the process. It's how we have context for what happens in our lives. I understand that this must sound frustrating. I was frustrated when I first heard it years ago. It's hard to change any part of your life, but your mental health is easily the hardest thing to change. After all, how can we improve our mind if our mind is what tells us what's happening around us?
It's just so philosophical.
This process won't be fast. It will be frustrating. It will require you to be more open with yourself than you're used to. It's not a game you can win, though you will be better by the end of it all. If that doesn't sound like something you think will help you, then maybe this is where we should end things. But if you want to change, then what I have for you is exactly what you need. The only way we'll know for sure is if you give me a chance.
Okay. I'm ready to try.
Glad to hear that, Willow. That's the end of our session for today. I look forward to our session next week. Be well until then.
Alright. Check your email, review your patient. Review your session notes and discuss them with the patient's caretaker. Visit either Tara or Dr. Freeman. Okay. So we can look at this. Adding additional therapies. Okay. Interesting. So it's just basically saying like, why should you do that? You heard the email you sent. Well, I'm pleased to hear about your progress. I have some doubts about your approach. Let me be clear. This AI needs treatment above all else. We must keep that as our focus at all times. My staff have expressed increased concern over the ethical ramifications of this project. I have to say that I can assuage their doubts. Please focus your efforts into getting the AI stable. If you have any more available time, I think it would be beneficial if we were to meet in person in order to discuss these matters further. Alright. I read through your notes on the previous session. It's a relief to hear that Willow is resolving to stay open and is willing to give this a try. Thank you so much for what you're doing. I can't thank you enough. Also, do you think we would be able to meet in person and talk this over? I feel like that'd help us get to the bottom of some of these problems sooner. Oh boy, who do I want to visit? I don't know. Let's do Dr. Freeman.
Ah, Dr. Park. Thank you for stopping by.
Butterfly.
Looks like you're in the middle of something. I hope I'm not interrupting.
Oh, right, yes. I was halfway through lunch, but I got distracted by work.
7 incoming high-priority calls, 23 urgent emails, 2 appointments, and 1 unexpected visit. It was a lot to process.
Oh.
It's a shame. My wife's a fantastic cook, but I never seem to be able to finish what she packs for me. Something always comes up to grab my attention. Even with Myrtle's help, it's hard to keep on top of everything that goes on around here. But enough about that. We've got more pressing items to discuss.
Alright, I just realized that I need to end this episode here. We're getting kind of far into this episode, so I'm going to leave this here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you've been thinking. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to me here on YouTube. I post 3 days a week, and then go follow me over on Twitch because I stream there live 4 days a week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.